The Nigerian army today issued what it calls a final warning to Boko Haram terrorists to surrender themselves or face full defeat by December 2015. The acting director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, also called on the international community to join in demanding the surrender of the terrorists, as the military will not tolerate any unnecessary criticism for actions taken afterwards. In the meantime, the Nigerian army has set up a board of inquiry to investigate some of its personnel accused of unprofessional conduct and malpractices during the 2014 governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. According to the army, the BOI is to review the alleged involvement of the Nigerian army formations and officers in the 2014 and 2015 elections and uphold its support for democratic government. Now, reactions have continued to trail the decision by the Court of Appeal to adjourn indefinitely judgment in the case instituted by the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, against the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Two senior lawyers who spoke with our judiciary correspondent, Shola Shoyele, say that the issues before the Court of Appeal are weighty and the Code of Conduct Tribunal should adjourn its proceedings pending the decision of the Appellate Court.
The Court of Appeal did not give any reason for indefinitely adjourning the judgment, challenging the competence of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. These has led to speculations about the likely course. Two senior advocates who spoke to Channels Television, however, think that the judgment may not be ready.
If 3 members sat together, or 5 members sat together to hear arguments from counsel, they must all make input into the judgment. So if a situation arises where that is not possible, the judgment can be adjourned.
We must also look at what the Court of Appeal has suddenly been exposed to. The presiding justice of the Court of Appeal, Justice Jega, died in Saudi Arabia. So there's still that issue that is being looked into. There's also the part where the judge died with another colleague of his of Ilorin Division. So the Court of Appeal right now, one could say, is still mourning because the person who died is the presiding justice of the Court of Appeal.
Beyond the reason for the adjournment is the issue of what becomes of the case pending before the CCT.
Since the appeal has been determined and judgment is yet to be delivered, and that the issue that has been placed before the Court of Appeal is one that borders on the jurisdiction of the CCT, until that decision is, until the judgment is delivered one way or the other, the CCT cannot proceed. Now, there's a decided authority of the Supreme Court that where the Court of Appeal is seized of a matter, or an appellate court is seized of a matter, and the court that is seized of the matter is notified that the matter is on appeal, proceeding with hearing, knowing fully well that the Superior Court is now seized of the matter, will be seen as judicial impertinence or impudence.
If the tribunal goes on tomorrow, and next week or next month or thereafter, the Court of Appeal decides in favor of the appellant, all that has been done by the tribunal becomes a nullity. Because when you don't have jurisdiction, you don't have jurisdiction. No matter how beautiful, no matter how well conducted. You get my point? And to that extent, all the resources, human and material, dissipated into the trial, will come to nothing.
The lawyers have also urged the Court of Appeal to give its judgment as soon as possible, especially because of the public interest nature of the case. Shola Shoyele, Channels Television News.
Well, joining me now in Abuja is another legal practitioner, Mr. Tochukwu Ohazurike. Thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you, John.
Well, you've heard your other two colleagues that until judgment is delivered, the CCT should not continue. Do you think they should sit tomorrow?
Well, if the CCT should sit tomorrow, they should sit only on one issue, and that issue is to adjourn one, either until the Court of Appeal is final judgment on the issue, them to continue or not, or he should sit tomorrow and cancel to place him on the issue of jurisdiction, because the issue of jurisdiction that is before the CCT is an issue the CCT decided on 4. 1, issue of 3D of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act. And even when the appellant in the Court of Appeal was in the dock, he raised that issue. And we were the CCT should have at that point asked the counsel both counsel in the matter to address the court on that, to the tribunal on that issue of jurisdiction. You can raise issues of jurisdiction at any time, even on appeal, and the court on its own can raise the issue of jurisdiction. So when that issue came up in the dock from the man standing trial, the court should have actually asked the counsel to address the court on that issue, and this matter would have been laid to rest. Resources are being wasted, time is being wasted. Sometimes it's a public interest matter. A lot of Nigerians are hooked up watching. Oh, yesterday everybody rushed to Court of Appeal to know what will happen. Tomorrow people will rush to Court of Conduct Tribunal to know what will happen. Nigerians' times are being wasted, and we need to stop this thing and move ahead. That issue of Section 3D has been settled before by the court, but it would have been a lovely thing if the Court of Appeal had pronounced on it, and also the issue of the composition of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, because the paragraph 15 sub 1 of part 1 of the 5th schedule of the Constitution, which established the Code of Conduct Tribunal, says it shall consist of a chairman and 2 members. And the 2 members, now we have only 2 members of that Code of Conduct Tribunal. That is why that issue is also part of the issue appeal, grounds of appeal at the appeal court. These are the issues that we love that the Court of Appeal should have resolved. But
okay, let me just ask you there. I mean, you're making the case for judicial time wasting, as you've called it, but looking at the decision that came from the appeal court, we have an indefinite adjournment, and they have said that they will let all parties know. How would you interpret that when the matter of judicial interpretation seems to be so crucial in this particular case?
For the Court of Appeal, I think I want to remember the advice of the former Chief Justice of the Federation when the present Court of Appeal President of the Court of Appeal was taking her oath of office as president. She said, I charge you to make all effort to reposition the court and ensure that the confidence in the court is restored. The Court of Appeal, that adjournment and the events preceding it, an online media comes up, says, oh, a lot of issues are going on, and the next thing, 30 minutes to the judgment, it is stopped, the way it was stopped, events that have happened after, no reason. It has shrouded the Court of Appeal with a lot of questions now. A lot of people are now thinking, there are a lot of speculations, and it is not good. Justice is a three-way thing for the appellant, for the respondent, even for the ordinary man on the street. The ordinary man on the street now, who doesn't understand, is asking a lot of questions, and the court should not allow such speculations to exist. So on the issue of the timing of the judiciary, the issues are simple. The Court of Appeal must, in earnest, pronounce on these issues. These are novel areas that have not been pronounced upon by the Court of Appeal. So it would have opened and expanded our jurisprudence and issues like this, so that trials at the Code of Conduct Tribunal will be in the correct perspective as it should be. Because we understand that even after the death of Justice Jega, may his soul rest in peace, the Court of Appeal has sat. So the issues of the death of Justice Jega is not the reason. So the issues are still, they have not resolved the issues. And it is not good that the confusion around the reasons for the shift and why the shift. So the Court of Appeal should restore the confidence Nigerians have in by pronouncing on these issues very quickly without minding whose ox is God, and pronounce on the laws. And it looks like, oh, immediately Court of Appeal adjourned. There is now information from the Code of Conduct Tribunal that it will sit tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All of a sudden, the Court of Appeal is not giving judgment, and the Code of Conduct Tribunal is granting a allocated hearing. People are now asking a lot of questions, and it is not good for speculations to exist in the judiciary. It is not good at all for the judiciary. It is not good for the jurisprudence, and the Court of Appeal must rise to the occasion. They have done that in time past. They have the capacity to do it again.
All right, legal practitioner Mr. Tochukwu Ohazurike, thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
The former controversial Minister of Interior, Mr. Abba Moro, has been grilled by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over the 2014 recruitment exercise into the Immigration Service, which claimed over a dozen lives in some centres across the country. An official of the EFCC has confirmed that Mr. Moro was quizzed by a team of EFCC officials at the Anti-Graft Agency's office in Abuja. Mr. Moro defended himself, alleging that he's being used as a scapegoat for the outcome of the employment exercise, which was supervised by the then Presidential Committee. He says the exercise was clearly undertaken by the Immigration Office, led by the former Controller General of Immigration, David Paradang. And following the protest by pro-Biafra supporters in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, the police command says it's taken control of the situation and the protesters have since been dispersed. The State Police Commissioner Musa Kimo told our correspondent that though the protesters stormed the streets without permission, his men have been dispatched to all flashpoints in the state to ensure there is no further breakdown of law and order. He also said that some of the arrests have been made in connection with the protests today. Now, the Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has signed the third Memorandum of Understanding with an Irish firm, Asia International Limited Group, for the development of 10,000 affordable housing units in the state. The buildings are expected to be reserved for civil servants and other low-income earners. At the ceremony that had in attendance all the Executive Council members at the Government House, Awka, the Governor assured residents of his commitment to ensure the investment, which is worth approximately 95.2 billion naira, comes to fruition.
Nigeria has been grappling with the challenge of housing. With a population of about 170 million people, the country's housing shortfall has been put between 16 million units and 17 million units and requires a minimum of additional 1 million housing units per annum to reduce the national deficit in order to avert a housing crisis in the country. In Anambra State, for instance, in the capital city of Awka, where majority of the population are civil servants, housing is not just the only challenge, affordability is a major worry.
We have a lot of challenges in the house. So, I came from all the way from Delta State, Asaba. I come to work every day and go back. Some people come from Enugu. Some people here like Newi, Obuaro and so forth.
2-bedroom flats in the state, Awka for instance, cost not less than 250,000 or 200,000. So now you can imagine how a civil servant who is paid the peanut, the name of salary, can now afford, such high cost of rentage.
The Anambra State government is hoping to ease the problem by embarking on a housing project. This meeting to sign a memorandum of understanding between the state government and an Irish firm, Asia International Limited Group, will bring that to fruition.
The ABC project is a housing development project totaling about 10,000 housing units that will be developed in 5 tranches of 2,000 units each.
Governor Willie Obiano assures his people of his total commitment to the realization of the project.
All this will go a long way to ameliorating the challenges we have with respect to housing, and specifically for the civil servants and all the staff that are working in Anambra State.
Already, about 200 hectares of land have been earmarked by the state government in different areas, and the project is expected to commence within 6 months.